So what on earth did we witness just there? It looked like South Africa had for all money clawed their way back into this game. They were going to take the test and the series 2-0. But no, Kieran Frawley of Ireland, the super sub number 10, came on and did the job with two of the best drop goals you're ever going to see. Just a thrilling match. Maybe not beautiful to watch, but it was just so intense. It felt like a World Cup semi-final or final type match. Amazing stuff from both sides. Huge respect. The crowd were amazing. Massive shot straight from the off. And Ronan Kelleher set the tone with a shuddering hit. I mean, he wants to take his shirt back from Dan Sheehan, and he put a good case for that is for sure. But the South Africans were doing the same. Blood was everywhere. They were forcing the Irish back. Leroux gets his head on the wrong side of a tackle, so he's off and stays off with a head injury. And Sasha Feinberg-Magomezulu is on early and stays on and does pretty well. You can see his class on the counter-attack and the high bombs. He's playing 15 as well. Very versatile. Didn't get to play 10 because Pollard was kicking Ireland to death at times here. He missed loads of kicks in the last game. Not so this one. Etzebeth gets a face full of blood, and that's just the first 8 minutes, and there's more to come. And in this first half, to be fair to Ireland, they did get their attack going. They couldn't make too much ground over the gain line because the South African defence was so good, but the Green Machine was starting to purr, but South Africa have watched them carefully. Etzebeth spotting that they like to reverse the play, nearly getting an intercept. So a good attack v defence battle, that's for sure. Then the first points of the game, Ireland at least are retaining the ball, if not making too much headway. They get a penalty, 0-3. On 7 minutes, we see the first attack for South Africa. De Klerk going for a nice little hook over the shoulder, a roller kick for Colby to steam onto, and they try to get Colby into this game. They did a couple of times, but not fully. Arenza up there, you can see the artwork from Blair Skivington, some new guys up there. Joe McCarthy, Arenza. Arenza barely touched the ball, actually. They did pretty well to shepherd the wide men, did Ireland. And they exchanged a couple of ugly kicks, one from Pollard crossfield, one from Crowley. But anyway, the first big line break of the match is a nice inside ball from Furlong to Big Joe, and Moster and Malherbe can see it happening. They've got Big Joe lined up and he just burst straight through them. So that's a really poor double missed tackle. Ireland don't go through many phases before a crossfield kick from Crowley just comes to nothing. But on the very next attack, Crowley does much better, takes the ball to the South African line and frees Osborne on a really nice inside line. And then it's Henshaw to Murray, really tidy, try. That's how you do it. And the line was the same line that we saw last week, where the ball carrier is kind of in behind a guy in front. The guy in front fades inwards, sucks someone in. In this case, it's Malherbe. So a second defensive error in a row for him. He gets fooled, and then through goes Osborne. So that's the play. It gets the try on 10 minutes. Impressive stuff from Ireland, 0-10. Then South Africa with a couple of big plays. Colby with some stepping, making Osborne looking a bit silly, but Ireland scramble. And then the Ox strikes with a mighty scrum, demolishing Furlong, who struggled with the Ox all game. So that's a penalty. They're on the board, 3-10. Ireland, though, they are attacking pretty well in this first half. It's hard work, as it always is against South Africa, but they get through some phases and they stretch South Africa, who look to be really struggling. But then Tadhg of all people, who has great hands, he drops quite an easy pass, to be honest, to kill the chance. So they had a little bit of momentum in that first 20 minutes. Maybe they could have made a bit more of it. A couple of times in that first half, we saw Khaleesi come in with some massive carries, as he did in the last game. He looked so up for it. One of their best carriers, certainly most dynamic carriers. Pollard trying to fizz the ball wide, nearly working to Colby, but not quite. Then a huge period of pressure for South Africa, about 8 minutes, which is a long time in rugby. Quagga Smith charges down a kick. The second kicking disaster as Lowe bangs it straight to touch, and it comes back for the line out, which Khaleesi charges from, and it looks like South Africa are building pressure to score. But de Klerk, who didn't have a great game, to be honest, butchers a chance with a bad spill. In fact, Grant Williams comes on very early in the second half and does well. So I wonder if that's a turning point for 9. I did say that 9 position is up for grabs in my eyes for South Africa. Anyway, more penalties, more pressure. South Africa simply have to score from a 5-metre line-out maul, and they just can't, as they make a mess of protecting the ball. And Big Joe McCarthy up there, who has a great game in the maul, definitely makes a big mess of it. So happy for South Africa to take a 3 points from a penalty. Ireland not conceding a try, so 6 10 from that massive period of pressure. Then Sasha Feinberg-Magomazulu comes to the party with an amazing catch and a half break. He beats Byrne, he beats Crowley, he offloads. And again, it looks like South Africa are gonna score, but de Klerk once again with a mistake, kicking the ball away metres from the line, and indeed he gets hauled off just after that. But they do win a penalty. It's 3 more good side steps, I think, from SFM, and they get a penalty. So that's 9-16. And then maybe the turning point of the match, we think, and that's a croc roll from James Ryan, although Doris gets a hauled off for it, he kind of is in on it, if you like. And that's what World Rugby want to stop, that croc roll targeting the knee. Hate to see it. I don't know why he does it, because he knows it's illegal now. It's just a lazy way of clearing out, but, you know, we've been getting away with it for so long until World Rugby has finally said, this is definitely not the idea of clearing out, and it targets the knee. So it's a yellow card for Doris in the end, and South Africa do take advantage. Their tails are up. They know they've got that big 10 minutes. SFM again with a good counter-attack and a laser-like low kick. Looking classy, really is. The extra man starting to tell. The power of the carry gets a penalty up to 1 point, 15-16. The huge man, R.G. Snyman, rides 2 tackles, puts marks through, and you feel like it's building. They're getting gain line, but they can't score. Porter goes off the feet for another penalty. Pollard kicks that. So they're in the lead, 18-16, and it just looks like South Africa are starting to stretch away. But Quagga Smith gives 3 points back. It is a nice high ball take from Osborne, but Smith leans over a ruck, playing the ball in that ruck, gifting away those 3 points from the penalty, 18-19, and then SFM whacking up the high bomb, which in the second half South Africa did an awful lot. That was kind of their go-to tactic. McCarthy is pinged fairly harshly for an offside. So anyway, South Africa go back ahead 21-19. Now, there's a reason I call Grant Williams the fastest 9 in the world. That's because he's the fastest 9 in the world. And he hits a clearance and races 60 metres to chase his own clearance and bashes Osborne into touch with a nasty bouncing ball. That was a big play. But Big Joe comes to the party once again with his second big maul turnover. Such a big strength of his. Steenkamp's on, and he is a good substitute to have in the scrum. The bomb squad, of course, wins a technical scrum penalty, and Pollard, of course, is kicking Ireland to death 24-19, and it just looks like it's getting away from Ireland. And then a massive call from Andy Farrell as he brings on Kieran Frawley at fly half, not at 15, and he makes an immediate impact with a brilliant catch, taking the ball back into play, starting outside, catching the ball back in play, and it leads to a 5 metre chance from a tap free kicks. That makes a good kind of 60 metres to get that chance. Herring goes nose to the ground, and it looks like Ireland then power over, but Snyman and his mates hold up the carry. I think it's Healy he holds up, but straight from the dropout it goes to Frawley. He lines up the drop goal and nails one straight back over the posts, and it's 24-22. It's a 2-point game, 10 minutes to go. South Africa are sticking with the high bomb. It has brought some joy for them. SFM again forces panic. There's a knock on. South Africa look to work Colby round the edge, but Osborne drifts very nicely. Big lasso tackle into touch. Such fine margins in this game. And Ireland are just trying to desperately work their way out of their half, which is tough. But Arenza doesn't get back on side, so they get a penalty. And then it's still the high bombs from South Africa. Lowe makes 3 massive catches in a row. And finally, they get into the South Africa half. Frawley is the man. It whizzes back to him. Really good pass from Caelan Blade, who's on for Murray. And he bangs over a 40-metre drop goal straight over. South Africa literally can't believe it. They had the game won, 2 drop goals, and they've lost the game. That's the way it goes sometimes. Respect to all the players involved. It was just a backwards and forwards game. I couldn't really get too many themes from the game except that they were just desperate to win. Ireland, to be fair, at the end of a very long season, starting in the World Cup, have come back and won in South Africa, and it ends up 5-1 to the Southern Hemisphere. In my prediction, I said that I thought it would be 5-1, but I just thought one of these Northern Hemisphere sides was going to get that win, and it came in the very last game. So if you do appreciate these sorts of videos, chuck us a thumbs up. Please do subscribe. It really helps a lot. Appreciate all those comments down below. They've been amazing. What a great way to finish this tour series, if you like, and I'll catch you next time.